Hi and welcome. You're listening to the X22 Report. My name is Dave and this is episode 1215B and today's date is February 27th, 2017 and the title of the episode is Just When You Thought Everything Was Going to Be Fine, This Happened. Let's get into the economic collapse, political and geopolitical news. Now lately we've been seeing the corporate media out there telling us that everyone loves Obamacare, that you can't get rid of it. It's incredible. And we can see on social media and other places, people are posting like crazy about how great Obamacare is. Well, it looks like there was an investigation. And Michael Brown looked into all these posts that are being made with respect to Obamacare. And what he found out was that a majority of the online and social media defenders of Obamacare, they're professionals who are paid to post. 60% of all the posts were made from 100 profiles, posting between the hours of 9 and 5 Pacific time. They were paid to post, he said. He began investigating it after his criticism of the former president's health insurance program posted on the Obamacare Facebook page. He was hit hard by digital activists pretending to be regular people. Now, he says that these individuals, they post zombie posts. And he says a zombie post is a fake, purchased, or rented Facebook profile that's expressing the views of an organization as if it was his or her own. But in reality, that comment that's being expressed is done on software. And it's written by generally maybe one or two people. And these zombie posts, they go out on a schedule. And then they are supported by zombie likes. All of this is paid for. This is not organic. And people have to realize that a lot of the stuff on the internet today, well, it's fake. There are reports coming out that the corporate news sites, their comment section, the number of views they get, the number of likes they get, well, they are bots that they purchase from China. We know that CNN, well, only about 54% of their Twitter followers are real through a Twitter audit. And what we're seeing is that you can rent posters for forums. So if, let's say, a corporate media site like New York Times or CNN, they have a forum where people are talking about certain things, you can hire a company that will go in and post comments in the forum. And you can say what you want them to do. So a lot of the stuff that you're seeing is not even being done by real people. They're paid to do this. Now we know that the corporate media, they are out there and they've been bashing Trump over and over and over. They keep bringing up that he has connections to Russia. They have proof. They just can't show you the proof. And today the chair of House Intel Committee, Devin Nunes, came out and said, listen, there is no connection whatsoever to Trump. And right now, they cannot find anything tying him to Russia. Actually, he said the transcript of the phone call of Michael Flynn with Russia, they see absolutely nothing wrong with it. Nothing in there that bothers them whatsoever. So we can see right now, once again, the corporate media was out there creating fake news. And what's very interesting about the corporate media, if you look around social media, they're starting an advertising campaign showing you that they're handing out the truth. That to find the truth, come to the corporate media. We're not the fake news. We're the truth. And they give all different examples, like the travel ban was a Muslim ban. Well, no, it wasn't, because it never said Muslim ban. And there's many different religions in those countries. But they flash many different little things through their advertisements, and the only reason they would need to do that at this point is because people are not believing them. So when you need to advertise that you're telling the truth, normally you're not telling the truth, because you wouldn't have to advertise that you're telling people the truth, because you don't have to do that if you're telling them the truth. Now, another thing that came up was a leaked audio from an anti-Trump protest group. And this meeting that they had reveals that activists with the anti-Trump group Indivisible plotting how to best manufacture a hostile environment at a town hall with Republican Senator Bill Cassidy in Louisiana. And the audio reveals a coordinated effort to create the public impression that Cassidy's support for Trump is unpopular with his constituents. And the activists, well, they were caught on this audio, and what they wanted to do was get inside and take almost all the seats, so no one else would actually get them. And they would start asking questions and build up to what they really wanted to do. Their game plan number one is to fill as many seats as they can. That's what the recording says. If it's all of us in there and the poor people of the little town of Louisiana are sitting behind us, well, tough luck on them, said one organizer. And then we can start hitting him with questions and screaming out and yelling different things, saying that we don't support you. This is how these things are working today. Just like the internet, all of this is starting to be paid and completely organized to disrupt whatever is going on today. Nothing is grassroots. And we can see right now that the White House, well, they've had it. I mean, they banned the press, which I really don't agree with, because you know what? Let the truth stand on its own. I mean, I see that they're frustrated. I see that they're getting angry at this. But again, the truth, and if you just stick with the facts, go with the truth, guess what? You will overcome this. You could see the corporate media right now. They're advertising that they are the truth news reporting agencies. That tells you they're very nervous. But in the White House, we can see that Sean Spicer, he's cracking down on leaks from the White House. And he's asking individuals for a phone check to prove that they aren't leaking any information. He also warned staffers that using texting apps like Confide, an encrypted and screenshotted protected messaging app that automatically deletes texts after they are sent, and Signal, another encrypted messaging system, was a violation of the Federal Records Act. Spicer also warned the group of more problems. If news on the phone checks and the meeting about leaks was leaked to the media, they would have to go and actually file charges against those leakers. And he went on to say that if you're merely speaking to a reporter, that's one thing. But if you actually take files or any other type of physical material and transfer them to the media, well, then they're in violation of 18 U.S.C. Section 641. The law states that anyone who steals or provides for another person's use any record, voucher, money, or thing of value of the United States or any other department or agency is guilty of a crime. If a source of government leak turned over physical record, they could face 10 years in prison and a fine for it. And remember, the FBI stated they have no knowledge or who is actually leaking anything. Now remember, this is the same agency that investigates the false flag events and tells you exactly who it is. They're the same agency that tells you who was cyber attacking. But they can't find the leakers inside the White House, which is absolutely ridiculous. Now, we can see at this point that the deep state central bank, they are provoking North Korea. They're setting North Korea up at this point. We can see with the murder of Kim Jong-un's half-brother, the assassination, I should say, that the pieces that we talked about on the news brief on Sunday, things really don't fit together right now. But we can see where they're trying to go with this. They're trying to bring North Korea up on chemical weapon charges, war crimes. They're trying to get the THAAD missile system into South Korea. And we can see already that they are going to be bringing it in because South Korea's fifth largest conglomerate has agreed a land swap deal with the government that will allow the U.S. to host the Terminal High Altitude Area Defense Missile System, which is a THAAD missile system. Now, the signing is going to happen, and the U.S. is going to bring in this weapon, and it's going to be pointing towards North Korea and China. Now, the question is, does North Korea really have nuclear weapons, or is this being blown out of proportion? Because we keep hearing that North Korea has these land-based nuclear rockets, and they're getting worse. They're building them bigger and better. They're going to reach the United States. Well, didn't we hear this before in Iraq, where they had weapons of mass destruction? Come to find out, they had absolutely nothing. And remember back when there was an earthquake in North Korea, and they said, whoa, they just exploded a nuclear weapon under the ground, created this earthquake, and they have nuclear weapons that are getting bigger and better and more dangerous. The problem was there was no radiation ever detected from that. Now, the last time that North Korea actually tested a nuclear weapon, Japan actually was able to pick up the radiation. Now, if this latest weapon that they did was even bigger, they should have seen radiation. And they kept testing. They kept testing. They didn't find anything. So what we're seeing right now is that most likely this is being exaggerated, just like Iraq, just like the fake story that Al-Qaeda flew into the World Trade Center towers. And we know that was an inside job. We know Mossad was involved in that. We know other individuals were involved in that. And we can see that, once again, they are trying to convince us of something that's really not happening. I mean, they were able to do this, got us into Afghanistan. They were able to take away our rights with saying, ooh, terrorists are coming to get us. Look what happened in 9/11. They did this with Iraq, where we brought in our troops into Iraq, and they tried to make a connection into 9/11. They were showing us weapons of mass destruction. And then they went throughout all the other countries to find Al-Qaeda. And all of it turns out to be fake because, as we know today, Al-Qaeda, the Islamic State, Al-Nusra, Al-Sham, the moderate rebels, all of it, the United States government central bankers, along with other countries, well, they support them. They fund them. They use them as their paid mercenary army. We see that Iran right now is holding massive naval drills out in their area. And they're holding this in the Strait of Hormuz and the Gulf of Oman. And we can see right now the corporate media is out there saying, well, they're out there having these drills and this is some type of provocation to the United States. No, they're having their drills just like the United States has their drills. But the difference is they're having it around their country. The United States has its drills around their country, where that provokes different countries. Like when the United States has a drill in the Black Sea right next to Russia, provoking Russia. When the United States has a drill in the South China Sea, provokes China. When the United States has a drill in the Strait of Hormuz, it provokes Iran. Can you imagine if Russia and China had a drill in the Gulf of Mexico? I mean, people would be sitting here going, why are they here? Why are they drilling here? It makes no sense. So you can see how the other countries feel when all of this is out there and they see all the weaponry and the ships and the planes. It makes them very nervous. Just like people here in the United States would be very nervous if Russia, China, Iran, Syria, any of them were having drills in the Gulf of Mexico. Now, out in Libya, we see that Libyan National Oil Corporation, they have signed a contract with Rosneft to redevelop the oil fields and lay groundwork for further investment. Now, this is going to be a problem for the central bankers, because we know that the central bankers wanted Libya, they wanted Yemen, Somalia, Iraq, Syria, Lebanon, and then Iran to keep the petrodollar propped up. Now we have Russia inside of Libya, making deals with General Haftar, making deals with the Libyan National Oil Corporation. And we can see that already Russia and China are making deals and working without the dollar, selling oil, not using the dollar. And when Russia makes these deals in Libya, they also will not be using the dollar in this area. And this is going to be a problem for the central bankers. So most likely, we might see something happen in Libya very soon. We see that Russia is sending their frigate to the Mediterranean Sea. They're taking it from the Black Sea Fleet, sailing it over to the Mediterranean. And we see during the Oscars, Hollywood decided to honor terrorism. The White Helmets propaganda film was honored as the past year's best documentary short, portraying terrorists as heroes. Now, the group has nothing to do with civil defense as claimed. We talked about this in many reports. They support terrorism. The United States supports the White Helmets. Britain supports the White Helmets. And the White Helmets have been shown together. They have, through photographs, videotapes, and other investigations, that they are joining up with al-Nusra. They were there during the beheadings and other atrocities. They support the creation of a no-fly zone to prevent Syrian aerial self-defense. And the Syria Solidarity Movement calls them Al-Qaeda with a facelift. And the White Helmets were placed in this position for one job and one job only: to spread propaganda, to make things up. And it's nothing more than a terrorist group. Now, General Joseph Votel, he is out there saying that the Kurdish-led forces, they're going to need more sophisticated weaponry to continue the fight in Syria. And we can see that they want to bring in anti-tank weapons. They want to bring in IEDs. They want to bring a lot more advanced weaponry in. And it looks like this is one way they're trying to get more weaponry into this area. And we see right now the Pentagon, they're preparing for a bigger, bloodier war in Iraq and Syria. And we can see that they're pushing their agenda. We know that John McCain was out there. We know that Saudi Arabia, they're getting ready to bring forces into Syria. I mean, this whole thing's going to blow up probably in the next couple of months. They're getting prepared and ready to make their last and final push to remove Assad. They're not going after the Islamic State. They're going after the prize, and that is Assad. Now, I wanted to talk about what is happening now with the deep state. And many people have been writing in, and they thought, everything was going to be fine. Trump was going to become president, and he was going to set things straight. And what we're seeing right now is that the opposite is happening. Everything is not fine. We see that the deep state, well, they're really pushing their agenda. And we know that Google, well, they just censored natural news. And they cited that he had this code on his 13 blogger pages buried in old posts from 2013 to 2014. And we see right now that Google actually has this code on their network, on their blog spot. And we see at this point that they are just trying to silence natural news. And of course, they really haven't given him any other reason. Now, there was no warning message or anything like that. So what is happening right now is that they're silencing other voices. Because remember, the deep state, the central bankers, they only want their voice to be heard. And that's with politically, geopolitically, medically, with vaccines, with global warming. It doesn't make a difference. They only want their side of it. And what they're doing right now is they're trying to figure out any way they can possibly can to basically shut down the other voices. That's what they're doing. They're going to go after revenue. They're going to go and find a small technicality. They're going to do whatever they possibly can to shut it down. Now, Mike Adams was on the Common Sense show with Dave Hodges, and he said that they were threatening him to shut down InfoWars, to help them shut down InfoWars. And if they didn't do it, they were going to shut him down. They even offered him $50,000 to help destroy InfoWars. He rejected all this. And then all of a sudden, he was delisted from Google. And we can see right now that they are really pushing their agenda forward. They're not going to stop. Now, there was an investigation of Google by Insurge Intelligence. Now, this is a new crowd-funded investigative journalism project, and it breaks the exclusive story of how the United States intelligence community funded, nurtured, and incubated Google as part of a drive to dominate the world through control of information, seed-funded by the NSA and the CIA. So we can see that this wasn't really an accident. An algorithm just didn't delist him. This was done by individuals within Google. And right now, Mike Adams is pushing to find out why this has happened. He wants answers because really, if there was a code on 13 or 14 pages, they should have given him a warning or say, listen, just remove this code and everything is fine. But instead, they just completely wiped him out from Google. Now, we know a lot of people use Google. They do a lot of searches in Google. He's just not found right now. Yes, you can find his Facebook still. Yes, you can find his other site. I think it's just natural.news. But his main site that he uses all the time is completely gone. Now, what's happening here is they're silencing individuals one at a time. This was a test. They're going to do this to more individuals. Now, what's very interesting is David Seaman. Now, his videos were deleted on his YouTube channel, and he's not posting on Twitter right now. I did see his Twitter feed, and the last time he posted was the 25th. Now, why did this happen? I don't know right now. I'm seeing all different stories out there. If somebody has an answer of why David Seaman took down all his videos, he was reporting on Pizzagate, pedophiles, and things like that, and all of a sudden he just completely disappeared. Maybe he was threatened. I don't know. If somebody has the answer, please let me know. So we can see what's happening right now. The deep state, they're coming out of the darkness. They're pushing their agenda, and they're going to try to silence as many outlets as they possibly can until their voice is the only voice left. Listen, everyone, thanks a lot for listening. Be well, be safe, and especially be prepared. Thanks a lot.